Elemental Realm is one of the biggest payouts every single day, as well as one of the most important things to do for inscriptions and orders. Now we're going to take a look at best ways to maximize your numbers. Let's get into it. So first, let's look at the rules. So every day it's going to be a different one of the four basic elements. Is no holy elemental realm. Each one is going to have a different battlefield environment, different bonuses that's going to change up. Floor 1 and Floor 2 are very, very easy. Most players should be able to do it. Floor 3 gets harder based on your server level. So age of server is going to depend on it. For example, if I do the nightmare version of Floor 3 on where I'm at, it's going to say recommended CP 1.7 million, whereas an older server is going to be much, much higher. Then we look at the point bonus breakdown right here. When in battle, the total attributes of deployed and assist fairies will be improved based on their star level. For each star level owned of the deployed team, increase the total attributes by 1%. And if you see right here, it's total 52%, because in total all the fairies equal 52. Then you get 20% per deployed attribute. So this is fire. So we have the upper limit 80% because you can only have 4, and then active is 60% because 1, 2, 3 are fire. So you're able to get a full 80% bonus points if you have a full 4 fire team going into this. Now let's look at each of the different elements. The easiest one being the wind one. Because the wind one, there isn't an actual boss, it's a bunch of mobs. So if we take a look, vulnerable to wind, obviously. Their biggest feature is appearing in groups as if the entire forest were warring. Flower Fairy skills with AoE attacks can deal great damage to enemies. So it recommended 2 AoE wind units. Dandelion obviously is another big one for this. Then how the mechanics work is they put down poison and they call down lightning. How all of these matches work is there will be little buffs on the board with movement speed, attack, or HP recovery. Grab those as you see fit, but for this map in particularly, it is just a bunch of mobs being summoned over and over. So good AoE will be great on this map. Now let's talk about the next one, water. Water, Hydro is the boss. It deals damage over time. Flower Fairy skills with restoration can enhance survivability. Flower Fairies with water restoration skills are recommended. For example, Candok. So it deals damage to you every second while you're in here, so it's recommending having healing. Where Candok is the recommendation, you don't really need the healing as long as you have at least a little bit of HP steal rate or are using priest like everyone is. Then we go into the actual mechanics. She has 4 basic skills that she does. First is this ripple, where she sends out 2 separate ripples that go out, pushes you back, and then pulls it back in, which will also pull you back in, but also semi-stun you. As you see over here, character's defense is increased, lose 5% HP per 5 seconds. Her next one right here, this one is, most of the water is actually a pretty easy one to do as long as you follow the mechanics. And as you see here, she sends out, it's like a pie, it's 8 slices. She does opposite sides and then follows it with the missing ones. So if you take a look, this one's about to shoot right here. You see the wave of it, of damage. It goes out as if to the very edge, as you see right here. And then the next, as you see, this isn't as far because it's still loading. Whereas this is the damage portion of it. Once this finishes, I can just walk over here and then nothing happens because it does the attack and then the attack. Then we have This one isn't really much of anything, just calls down attacks on the ground, don't stand in the red circle. Last but not least, this is, I think, the one people mess up the most, but it's actually the funnest in my opinion. So from where I'm standing, you need to burn a dash so you are in this spot of the pie. It's going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 of little Pac-Man mouths. So you want to stand as close to her as possible in her circle. So once this attacks, you can easily, while next to her, it's smaller circle, takes less time, step here, step here, step here. You will dodge all of them as long as you're right up on her doing this. So bam, 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 bam. Next, we'll get into fire, which ends up being the one people score the highest on. And why that is he actually takes damage, as we'll see here. Old diseases dating back to the war make it hard for his wounds to heal quickly. His human body is his biggest weakness. Flower fairy skills with execution can deal great damage, like Aerie. And why that is because he actually takes damage, and she does bonus damage when they're under a certain amount of HP. For example, as you see, he's right here. So the best way to do this is to use skills that do more based on low HP, use wills that do more based on low HP like Slaughter, things like this, and then you can do a bunch of damage. As you see right here, boss with only 1 HP left will not be terminated, but damage dealt will be recorded. So you want to get him down as low as possible, as fast as possible, and then unload on this guy. Now, first is the red circles. He just did 2 abilities, so I was unsure which screenshot this was. Calls down red circles, don't stand in the red circles. Then the other one. He will do right, left, middle. Each one will stun you, as you see right here, got hit by the middle. Your best bet is to either dash through him to the side, or he does a telegraph before he does this, where he has a sword in one hand, a gun in the other. He will like nick the gun with the sword. Either he's fueling it, don't know, whatever, but he'll do this kind of maneuver, and then he'll start slash, slash, slash. And then we have a big red circle. Obviously, stay out of the red circle. And then this is his biggest one, where he does a blue circle around him. Then he calls his ghost ship to come through, does a big knock-up, and this will be your biggest downtime if you get hit by this. He will always call it directly from in front of him, calls it right through. You obviously should be to the side. As you see, I'm getting hit by it here. And that is it for him. Last but not least is Earth. Earth, I really like the mechanic of it, as we'll see. He puts a shield on himself that all around shield immune to damage. Use stuns to break. Flower fairies with earth stun skill are recommended. For example, Primrose. Now, let me get a good look at his thing. Yeah, here we go. So this is the shield around him. He will also have the buff right there. Use Primrose or any stun skill. As you see, stun skill can interrupt boss's skill. So if you have an actual character skill, that'll also work here to get rid of this purple circle. And then once it's broken, this is kind of what it'll look like, that it's calling down Primrose, and then it breaks the circle. Then he calls this circle on the ground. As you see, it does a red circle, and then a yellow circle fills up. As the yellow circle hits the red circle, then it does damage in a big AoE. Then we have a stomp, which, as we'll see, it has a circle of effect right there, and then also these lines right here. You want to stay away from the circle, as well as not get hit by the lines. The lines are a lot smaller, so it's harder to get hit by them, but still watch out. Then we have this, which you should be burning a dodge on this, regardless of what you're playing. It takes up the whole ring and pulls you into him. So you want to use a dodge and jump out of it. It's a very quick ability, but it does take up the entire map. Then he calls down purple circles, just like red circles. Stay out of the purple circles. Then this one is kind of a weird one. He stops casting abilities, and then he teleports there. It's a brief 3 to 4 second delay, and then he just instantly teleports there, does a massive amount of damage. But that's it for all the elements, guys, and the point structure. Hope that all helped you out with Elemental Realm. Till next time, guys.